Robert Wallace is a guy that I've been subscribed to for a long time, and I've been thinking now that I'm older, I should maybe subscribe to people for a different reason than I do. The reason that I use is basically if I can't quite place you, if I can't guess how you're gonna.
I just like I supported Occupy Wall Street until such
Oops,
and that
sorry.
there are agent provocateurs. Always a possibility.
I fucked up the thing because I was just thinking, you gotta like anybody that has that many stickers and magnets on their fridge. That's my personal belief.
I don't condone that. So I don't necessarily support the protests, but I understand them. I understand the rage that a lot of people who are in marginalized parts of society feel, the fear that these people feel. I completely understand that. You know,
Do you really,
I mean,
Robert?
sure, he's
I
kind
mean,
of
that's kind of
walking back
big
a
to
lot of his
claim.
campaign rhetoric. Especially with repeal Obamacare has now become more amended, which
Right.
is slightly better,
Sure.
but not quite. Because here's the thing: his transition team is taking shape. We're
Look,
seeing the
people
people that he's putting in office.
people that are breaking windows. I've been in these kind of protests. First of all, there's an anarchist kind of person that wants to break a window and looks for an excuse. It's not an agent provocateur in the sense that an agent provocateur is actually like somebody placed by the FBI or the government or the establishment to pose as this kind of anarchist. No, there are really people out there. When I was in protest to defend People's Park, the anarchists would come in and have a riot and break into the Gap. And a bunch of college students would go into the Gap and get new Gap clothes. Um, so that's just the reality. On the other hand, there are also people. There's also a situation where some people get so upset about the situation that they actually cause mayhem, not just because they're 24/7 nihilists that want to destroy things, but because their state of mind has reached that level. Now, I don't know what's going on in these current protests, but I think there's a lot of people that have reason to be panicked because Trump is so loose with his words. Now, it's easy for his supporters to go, yeah, but he didn't really mean it that way. But not everybody, of course, is going to take it that way.
Secretary of Education, I guess Ben Carson's going to get that one. The young Earth
Oh
creationist,
my
climate
God,
denial,
Ben Carson.
science denial, being used as a
Really?
doctor, which makes it a
I
little
hadn't
bit
heard that.
absurd. The guy who just basically makes shit up because he likes to be true about Egypt. And his cabinet positions are going to be stocked
Uh, yeah,
with religious extremists,
in
thanks to Mike
nutcases.
Pence,
Yep,
and basically Republican conservative insiders.
yep.
You didn't get the change you're voting for.
Right, he's already in a lot of his transition team. He's already hiring those banksters to guide it. Those are his friends. He's already admitted he was a part of the establishment. The fact that you think he's left the establishment, why? Where does he have to go when he's a billionaire? Where does he have to go besides? What's the alternate culture that he would join? Whose parties is he going to instead of these people? I mean, it's silly.
What you got is somebody who's going to play with the Republican establishment. And what's going to happen, since they have the Congress and the House, or the Senate, is you're going to see the conservative Republican agenda. Because, the president isn't in charge, okay? He may be the executive, but he's not really in charge. He's got to work with what the Congress and the Senate gives him to work with. So what's going to happen is the conservative Republicans that have been trying to repeal Obamacare, they're going to put together something that's going to do a lot of that.
Well, right, but he's been saying repeal and replace. And so that's the success of Obamacare that because I didn't really want that approach exactly. There's aspects of it I like, but putting that aside, the point is that part of doing Obamacare is just putting it in place. It then becomes hard to take away. The conservatives in the UK can't talk against um, the medical services any more than American politicians can talk against Social Security. It's become ingrained, and those that are opposed to it may have certain code words and things they want to do to it that we watch out for, but they have to watch their step. And so, I mean, like in my own case, the main thing is that I had brain surgery when I was 27, I think it was, and that creates a pre-existing condition where I can't get medical insurance off of a group. To do that, I would have to fight, with actual paying doctors to write letters and things like that, which I may or may not win. So that's a big benefit to me, the pre-existing condition, and that's one of the things that people have recognized as something. Oh, let's keep that. So, there's actually a chance that he will, by only changing it slightly, either improve it or, not this repeal of like, hey, I've replaced it with you don't have any health insurance.
And if he wants the House and the Senate to work with him, he's going to sign it. They are going to work on climate change denial. And being as he's come out publicly, they're going to sign it. You want to have your health insurance pay for your birth control? Well, that's probably not going to happen after a while. Pence is very anti-LGBT rights. Now, is he going to be able to overturn marriage equality? Probably not. But they're going to be able to do all kinds of things and roll back rights. They're going to be able to do shit. And the thing it is, there's a lot of lobbyists that are just salivating and being worked into his administration. Tax cuts. You're going to get tax cuts. Well, you're not going to get tax cuts unless you're a one percenter. The one percenters are going to get a wonderful tax cut. Everybody else, not so much. Basically, what you're going to see is everything that the conservative Republicans have been trying to do for the last 8 years actually start to happen.
Well, not every. Well,
You're
we don't
going
know
to
that.
see changes to Medicare and Medicaid.
We don't know that because it depends how much Trump does his own thing and ideas versus offloads everything to Pence.
Paul Ryan's wanted that for a long time. And they've got the House and the Senate. They're going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to turn, Medicare into block grants for the states, which means that people are going to wind up being left out. They're going to start doing cuts to
Well, there'll be
Social
a
Security
backlash if
because the
that's the way it
conservative
goes.
Republicans have wanted to cut up Social Security
Then
for
the
age
backlash theory
years.
starts
They're
to
going to be
take
able to do
hold.
that now.
The
Okay,
news,
they're
the
going to do it
giving
through
them a rope
budgeting. Budgets
enough
have to
to hang
pass.
themselves.
And Trump's going to sign a budget when it gets put in front of him by the House and the Senate. Because if he doesn't, they're not going to work with him and he won't get nothing done. And that's just. You're going to see everything we've
Yeah,
been
but
afraid
Trump
of
works a little
from conservatives.
unconventionally.
It's going to start coming. And that's the thing. A lot of it's
I
going to be
actually
represented. And you know
don't
what?
think you
Michael
can
Moore is
assume that
predicting
Trump
that
will
Trump
act
won't
like
even
any
make it
other
the full 4
Republican
years. And I
president
think
in
he might
terms
be
of
right.
party
Michael Moore has been
fealty.
shockingly right about a lot of stuff in this election cycle. And I
Well, yeah,
disagreed with him on a lot of it, and I've been wrong. I mean, I love Michael Moore on a lot of stuff, and he's been right. He's going, you know what? Trump is not likely to make it a full term. Why isn't he likely to make it a full term? Not counting all the illegal shit he's done before he got elected, he's likely to continue doing illegal shit. Why? Because that's how he
true.
operates. That's
It
who
is
he
true.
is. He's
It's true,
driven
you
by his
guys.
ego. He is likely to commit some
It's
sort of
true.
crime, which is an
As a matter of
impeachable
fact, as,
offense.
as a matter of
And
fact,
we
I'd
don't
like to
think that a
start a
lot.
pool because which of Trump's kids is going to be the first to be indicted? I am taking my bet on Eric.
The Democrats are just waiting to do to him what the Republicans were waiting to do to Hillary. You're fucking dead wrong. And the horror of it all is it doesn't matter. The horror of it all is the 1% have bought it. And I know this is a theme I have harped on. I thought Hillary was in the bag for the 1%. Donald Trump was just to screw everything, and then he was going to flame out, and it looked exactly like he's doing that. Any other election cycle, he would have been completely unelectable. For this one, it passed. Because here's the thing. Whether it was Hillary or whether it was Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. The 1%
It
has
does
bought
matter.
it. Hillary
No,
was
it
absolutely
matters.
going to do the corporate agenda. That's why I
Uh-huh.
didn't like her. That's why I supported Bernie Sanders. But guess what? Trump's going to do the corporate
Corporate
agenda
agenda isn't
too.
100% destructive. I mean,
It
they're
didn't
also
matter
trying
who got
to
elected.
make
The
money,
only
which
person who would
requires
have stood up for the
stability
corporate
and
agenda was like, oh, Bernie Sanders. And all people are going, well, Jill Stein or that other fuckwit. And they didn't have a snowball's chance in
Gary
hell.
Johnson. You're probably thinking about the fuckwit.
They didn't. And that's something we can work on over the next 4 years, is actually getting a third party that actually is strong enough to stand a chance and have a chance.
Right. Hmm.
We can work on building
Especially depending
that.
how the Democrats react. If they're not going to fight
But right
and
now, as long
filibuster
as
and
we go
blah
with the
blah
two
blah,
party
then fuck
system,
them.
Republican or Democrat, both are bought, and you're going to get what we're getting.
This is kind of the
And all
wrong
your
thing. No,
protesting will
it's wrong to think of Hillary as bot. She actually agrees with them. She is of the philosophy of the banksters. It's not that she's bought. They pay her because she already believes that. Just like if you were hiring somebody to do your, I don't know, your PR or something, and you hire somebody that actually agrees with you, it helps them do the PR better. So, um, it's just slightly different than the way you put it. But okay, go ahead, Robert.
be for naught. Okay? The time to go third party is not in an election year. Okay, by the time you're already choosing your candidates for Republican and Democrat and the debates are happening, it's too late for third party. You will never get the amount of people necessary. If you want to run a successful third party, when you start working on that, it's the day after the election. Okay, we need to be working on a strong third party now, today, for
What about
2020,
the Whigs?
in
Pro
order to have a
infrastructure.
snowball's
The
chance in
Whigs. Let's
hell
bring
of
them
doing
back.
anything in 2020. Okay, if you want a social democratic agenda, I know I do, you need to start working on it now for 2020. You got to need to think 4 years ahead, 8 years ahead, and work on building that party now. Because when ballots are going out, go vote third party, and they don't have a chance in hell, you're electing Trump. You're electing whoever else is somebody that you don't want. You're electing whoever is going to serve the 1%, because if you're, I mean, they've shown Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. They all serve the 1%. They serve the 1% in different ways, but they all serve the 1%. The oligarchy runs the show. And if you don't want the oligarchy to run the show, you have to start working on the third party now. Well, you can.
Okay.
So yeah,
I don't like
I
the Greens though. I need a
understand
new one.
the protests. I understand the fact that we got them publicly saying we've got to rebuild our military, when in fact over 50% of all the money this country spends is on our military. What do we actually need to rebuild? We spend more money on our military than most of the countries in the earth combined. What do we need to rebuild on our military? That's the thing. We'll rebuild our military. Social services for the poor are going to be cut. Food stamps going to be cut. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. If it helps poorer people, if it helps middle class, it's going away or being severely reduced. Watch. This is what I mean. 6 months after he takes office, there is going to be a whole bunch of people realizing they made a mistake. And they're going, I voted for this. A bunch of Trump supporters don't understand what they voted for. I voted.
Well, I did.
And there it
That's
is,
not
man. I
true.
mean,
They know what they voted for, but they
yeah,
aren't going to get it.
May, June, people are going to start realizing the mistakes that they made. If you are not
Probably.
already rich, you're probably going to be screwed. If you're at the lower end of middle class, man, you've already done about as good as you're ever going to do.
Well, that's not true
The gap
because
between the rich
he's
and the
not
poor is
the
going to get
god of
wider,
the world.
and it's going to become a no man's land.
Um, that's not well. I mean, he
Like
might
people,
try
we
to
bring
do
back
that, but
manufacturing
the
jobs. Look,
reaction.
even if manufacturing jobs come back to this country,
Right, maybe he'll work
which
on
the
that.
president can't
That would
actually
be
just make
good.
them come back, but
Well, he
even
could do a
if they
lot.
do, most of manufacturing is going to be done by robots. The jobs aren't
Yeah,
coming
that's
back. Those
true.
manufacturing jobs are gone. They're gone
That's true.
forever. If it can be done by a machine, it's going to be done by a machine. Hell, within the next 5 years, all
Somebody has to
driving is likely to be
maintain the
done by a
machines, though.
machine. I mean, poor people will still be driving themselves, but people who can afford to buy the newer cars, man, computers are going to be doing the driving. Computers are going to be doing our manufacturing. Computers and robots are going to be doing all kinds of shit that middle class and poor people used to do.
Which is good,
And those
really, if
jobs are
you
going to
think
go
about it,
away.
right? Yay, we
People
don't
go,
have to
well,
do that
there'll be
shit
jobs
anymore.
repairing the robots. Yeah, well, robots are probably going to do those jobs too.
Yeah, but if
The
we get
poor, the
totally
lower
cut out of the
class, we're
economy,
going to become
then we'll just steal
superfluous.
the rich people's money
We're going to
because
be
we
like the third
outnumber
ripple
them
on society, and the rich
9 to
will
10,
begin
9
to
to
not
1.
need us. The farming, robots can do it.
Don't worry.
Combine can
Be
drive itself.
happy.
Computers can watch for blight insects
Don't
without
worry.
cameras.
That's
Human
right.
beings aren't
I was
necessary.
working on
One
that.
guy can run a 1,000-acre farm with robots. Manufacturing
Who wants to
robots.
do jobs robots can
All
do?
kinds of shit
Nobody.
robots. Why pay to have poor people who have food and medical care and housing? Why pay for that
When
when you
there's
just
literally no
don't need the
jobs because
people?
of robots, believe me,
Robots can do it.
people will take
The
what's theirs
1% doesn't need
finally.
us. And you're going to see just how
We
little
don't
they
need
need
them.
us.
They can't they don't have big enough walls to stop us. They need to
You
worry.
know, sometimes when I really think about it and the reality of it all
The only
sets in,
reason they've got all this wealth
I just want
now
to
is
crawl
because
in a
we don't
hole,
see it in our best interest to storm
let them
their
come out,
walls. But other than
pull the
that,
rock
they're
over the
fucked.
opening.
Don't be a cuck. We'll kick their ass. All right. Oh, somebody's in here. Okay, so. Oh, I got a guy named Your Jesus, opposition to his second coming. Well, I don't care. Yeah, it is impressive to be able to come twice in one sexual encounter, but I'm not that impressed that I'm going to worship the dude. I mean, though I am impressed. That's pretty cool. Good for you. Go Jesus. Come 3 times. I mean, that would be even more impressive.